The Bad Batch Episode 8 Reunion. This is the best episode ever. Okay, like I got it playing again because I can't help it with the ending. Um, it's Cad Bane. It's Cad Bane. All right, he's the coolest dude in the galaxy. He's like one of the deadliest people. Like I know everybody loves Han Solo, but that dude can eat a dick compared to Cad Bane. Like there is no comparison. Like Cad Bane, I hate that guy because he's always just effing up something for the good guys that I actually. I'm like like these are the good guys. I like this. I want to see them succeed. And here comes Cad Bane, and I'm like, well, these guys are effed because he doesn't fail. He's that character where like technically he's failed, of course, because obviously he never killed Obi-Wan Kenobi. Nobody does. But like he fails, but he's that character where it's like he fails so rarely, and the only time he does is if it's against like a superhuman, where it's like well, it's like what's he gonna do against the Force? Like there's only so much that can be done. That's him. That's Cad Bane. He's the guy where it's like if you're normal, if you're just a human like character where you don't have any sort of insane super speed or the Force, you are screwed. Like you would have to seriously get the drop on this guy to do anything good because he always comes in. Super cool. He looks good. I like the new costume. It looks great. I also love this ending scene, by the way, where like you see through Hunter's visor. That's really nice. But man, he comes. It's such a good episode. The whole episode is amazing. The whole episode is really good. I was hoping from the last episode, I was like, it has to pick up right where the last one leaves off because it's like that would be weird. Like they just leave and then they get tracked somewhere else. This is the perfect location to have them fight. Like they can run from ship to ship. It's all sorts of chaos. They deal with the ion engines and stuff. Like everything they did in this episode, I was like, this is exactly what I was hoping for, where it's like they're on a derelict ship, but they can utilize that where, either it's turning the ship on to shoot the cannons and like, bring the wreckage down on top of their heads and, knock everybody else out, blowing out the back half of the cylinder when the ion engine turns on is like, okay, well, we can either blow this up and fall down or we can just get burnt alive, which, wouldn't be the first time we've seen that. And, Crosshair, he gets what he deserves. He does get kind of a little bit roasted. He doesn't get Anakin roasted, but it's like, this hurts. He gets a little effed up. But man, Cad Bane, he's so cool. Also, Seth Green is the robot. I forgot about the robot. Just this thing. Boom, he's down. It's over. I'm probably still get copyrighted for that just because it's Disney. But it's so good. It's so good. I feel like all I want to talk about is the Cad Bane showed up. But there's a lot to talk about. So I'll try to calm this down. We'll get back to the amazing that is Cad Bane. So episode starts off pretty simply. It's like, hey, they've been caught on the planet. We see that Crosshair goes in. They talk to him. We have whatever that dude is. That guy, they said his name, of course, but I forgot. But the guy who took over for Tarkin. And so he's like, I don't care about clones or whatever. So of course they're like, all right, find him, kill everybody, kill the girl, kill all of them people. I don't give a crap. And so we find out that the Kaminoans were the ones that ended up hiring Fennec Shand. And I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, they revealed that. And although I mentioned this in that actual reveal, I was like, I hope it's someone else because otherwise it's not really this mysterious reveal. It's just like the Rex thing where it's like they make it seem super mysterious, but I'm like, literally everything that we would guess is the answer. It was like, okay, well, either they're talking, like 2 episodes ago, I'm like, either they're talking to Rex, but they make it seem super ominous, and then they're talking to somebody else, and it adds another party, and that's intriguing. And then this mysterious figure shows up, and I'm like, everyone watching this knows that's Rex. Why did they just be like, hey, we found these people, thought you might want to know, Rex? Because I'm like, the only interest that I had there was that it was someone else, and that it could be this evil switch-up thing, which may or may not have been the case even then, but it's just like, I feel like that wasn't the case. And then, of course, with the whole bounty hunter thing, I was like, okay, they kind of teased it, and like the tease is what made it seem like it was someone else, and then it was like, oh no, it actually was exactly who I figured it was going to be anyway. It was the Kaminoans, and they hired the bounty hunter. So it was like, all right, they kind of references like, oh, we did that before and it didn't work. It's like, look, we need to get her back. For whatever reason, they need Omega. We still don't know why, but I'm sure at some point it'll kind of come out. So it's like, as long as the bounty hunter gets it done, that's all that matters. That didn't even occur to me that it would be like an actual, like another person was going to show up. Honestly, I'm so stupid because in my head, the first person that came to mind, of course, was Boba Fett. Because I was like, oh, that would be cool if they brought Boba Fett in because we get a younger Boba Fett like right after Clone Wars. So I think that would actually be very cool just to see like what's going on with him because there's so much stuff that they had that they weren't able to do with a lot of stuff honestly with the Clone Wars. But they had a whole bunch of stories with him, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to see what they if they brought him back. That's what I thought of. I thought of Boba Fett. So Cad Bane just did enter my head, and it was only a split second. They had that one scene, and I was like, oh, that would be cool. Boba Fett. I didn't think it would be in this episode. I legit was like, okay, that's something that'll happen in the next episode. They'll hire another bounty hunter, and it'll be like, all right, they're dealing with a lot already. I didn't think the bounty hunter element was gonna pop up at the end. I was like, okay, that's cool. It was in my head, in one ear, out the other. Bounty hunter stuff. All right, next episode that should be pretty fun too. So it just left. I was like, that's it. They're referencing it just to be like, here's the official reveal. They were the ones that hired Finnick. They're about to hire someone else, and then that person will show up later, and that'll be a cool, secondary bounty hunter fight. We might even see two bounty hunters fight each other, which would really fit in line with some comics right now. So that's all I thought. I was like, oh, cool, that's for the future. They're kind of doling it out like, all right, expect another bounty hunter. That'll be fun later. They go through all this chaos. They're dealing with Crosshair. He's coming in with, his remaining stormtroopers and then, of course, the clone troopers. They have some really good action. Of course, they start off by, hiding from them. They were trying their damnedest in this episode for, like, the first half. They were really trying to hold on to all those materials. Like, Wrecker had that giant box for so long, and I'm pretty sure he ended up having to let it go by the time, once they had to open it up and use the bombs. I'm like, he was trying. He was really trying to, like, hold on to something so they could sell that stuff off, but they just kept going through, and I was like, yeah, we got to survive, so let's do what we got to do. But I like the way it was handled. They, using the cannons, I thought was really cool, because that was actually the first thing I thought. As soon as they got in there, I was like, that would be super cool if they can, like, shoot the cannons and, like, distract them or, do something. And then it was like, all right, I'm gonna turn on these cannons, and then it'll bring the whole ceiling on us. And I was like, I wanted them to use the cannons, and they're using the cannons. That's super cool. So then they escape, get into the ion engine. I was like, that's very cool. They had a really funny moment where Omega was like, I've never been in one of these. And Wrecker's like, it would have been weirder if you had. Like, and I was like, that's a simple line, but I was like, that's really funny. And it's very true, because it's like, it would have been really weird. It was just like, it would have been weirder if you had said you were already in one. That's super strange, kid. So, of course, they go through. Crosshair, knowing his team, he's like, got you. Like, he knew what they were doing in the first part, where it's like, oh, they were, he said what he said, because he was like, I know they're tracking us, so we're gonna, force them into the docking bay. And of course, it's like, got you, I know what you're gonna do. They escape, and it's like, all right, I know where they're gonna go. And he leaves the ship, finds his way to the outside, and he knows exactly where they're gonna be, and he's waiting to shoot him in the face. And I was like, he knows his team, and that's really cool. I like that. It's like that sort of Terminator style thing, where it's like, he's in a sense unstoppable, but it's really more the fact that he knows what they're gonna do because he's been a part of it. They're like a hive mind, and he's not detached from that enough to where he can't figure out what they're gonna do. Like, this is their first real big skirmish against him, and he knew every single move. It was like, oh, you were tracking our comms. Been there, done that. Oh, look at that. You found a second way out. Been there, done that too. Like, he knows everything. And they also set up a Plan 7. I'm sure that's gonna come into the fold at some point. They just reference it, and it's like, that has nothing to do with this in any way, shape, or form. And I was like, okay, that's a thing. Like, I don't know what that is. It must be crazy. It's Wrecker said it. It must be crazy. But I was like, that's a reference to something. We're definitely going to see Plan 7 somewhere, down the line. So I'm excited for that, because I'm like, that must be weird. So that was cool. They, of course, have the engine turning on. It's like, we got to blow this thing, blow the back half of the engine off, and then drop down. And then as it's dropping down, it hits something and splits off. And so Hunter and Omega get separated from the rest of the crew. They just roast the stormtroopers and Crosshair. He's just getting burnt and stuff. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like, visually, it was amazing as well. But I'm like, it's just, like, everything they did was just so cool, and it just kept escalating. I was like, they escaped, but it's in the most insane way ever. And then I thought it was simple. I was like, okay, they're split up. Echo's like, all right, we got company. And then Hunter's like, all right, just meet us at the Marauder. Let's get to the ship. And so Crosshair's like, they're going to the ship. Stop them. They call in the clone trooper. Nothing's happening. And I'm like, oh, okay, they kind of cut. In my head, I was just like, oh, they cut, and it's just that they banded up, they got to the Marauder, and they just beat up all the clone troopers. And then they showed Hunter and Omega pop up, and they didn't show the rest of the gang. And I was like, huh. And then they're like, what happened to these guys? And as soon as he said somebody's here, I knew it was getting good. And he was just like, this isn't their handiwork. And it's just like, not much work. And I was just like, man. Like, the actual I wish I recorded. It's always one of those moments where I'm just like, I wish I was recording that. Because my actual reaction, just to recreate it for you guys, it's, I hear the voice, and it's panning up. Looks super sick. I love the bandolier sort of style that on his outfit, and the actual bandolier on him. Because I don't think Cad Bane has ever had that. It's typically, he always has his dual pistols, but or dual blasters, I should say. But I don't think he's ever had like the legit bandolier. He's had like 3 or 4 different outfits, so sometimes it's hard for me to remember exactly what it was. But it was like he's going through and like it's panning up, and I'm like, I literally was just like, ooh, like I was so happy. I had you do the loud clap where you just because you're excited, and it's Cad Bane. And I was so happy. Like, I always want to see this dude because he's just the coolest thing ever. And he comes in, of course, being Cad Bane. He has his Seth Green robot. I forgot about that. I remembered the robot. Like, once I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I remember that droid from somewhere. But I remember him. I didn't remember that he was with Cad Bane. But yeah, it's been a minute since Cad Bane has showed up in the Clone Wars. So I don't remember what, like, the last story chunk for Cad Bane was. But I was excited. Like, they showed him. He's talking. It's like, look. Killed a bunch of clones. You know one, you know them all. No big deal. And of course, it's like, hey, gotta get the girl. He's doing his classic thing, and he's calm. And it's just like, I got a mission to do. I had to take these guys down because they were in the way. You can just, shift a little to the side. Give me the girl. No big deal. That's just kind of how he is. He's like, if I can get the job done, I don't really have to kill you. It takes like 0.5 seconds because he's Quick Draw McGraw. So it doesn't matter. Like, he could do it almost instantaneously, like, and you blink and you're dead. So it's like, I could do it. He didn't even have to talk. If he wanted to, he could just be like, yeah, I need the boom. And he could have done it, like, mid-sentence, and it would have been, like, nothing. Like, he wouldn't have even, like, Hunter wouldn't have even registered the fact that he stopped talking and then he was shot. Like, it would have been like, huh. And he, like, that's how fast it is. So it was just a great moment. I'm like, he looks good. It's great to see him. I hope we get a 1/6 scale figure now, because now that he's been introduced back into Clone Wars, all I need is another. I need a Cad Bane figure. I wish it was his older costume. My favorite one, I think, is his second, because it was almost like classic cowboy style, where he had a duster and everything. And his last, I think it was his last hat. His second hat, I'm pretty sure, was like my favorite hat. Like, this one, it's okay. It's not bad. I think it's better than the last one he had. So maybe it was like 2 hats ago, and it's from one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars, in all honesty. And it's during the episode of Clone Wars. Slight spoiler, but I won't spoil like the actual episode. It's too much to talk about. But Obi-Wan goes he goes undercover as a bounty hunter. And in this thing, it's like, we want to hire like the best bounty hunter. So of course Cad Bane is in there. And so there's these 2 brothers. They're twins. They're twin bounty hunters. And Cad Bane, so cool, but he's such a douchebag. He's a horrible whatever species he is. He's got a huge head too. If you ever see under his head is just like a peanut. But he looks cooler with the hat on. But he goes up to this dude, and he literally, this is like his introduction in that episode. He just walks up to these brothers, and he just looked and was like, I like your hat. And so he's got his gun holstered, of course. He's just like, I like your hat. Boom. And he just shot him. He killed him in front of his brother like it was nothing. And it was basically just like his brother's just stunned, and he doesn't fight back in that moment. Kills this dude in front of his brother, and then it's just over the hat. Like, they don't argue. There was no like argument before that or anything. It was literally, he walked up, liked his hat, and shot him and killed him. He just killed him and was like, I'm gonna take this off, upgrade, killed your brother. And then he just went through the episode, and that was it. And I'm pretty sure he killed the brother later. And it was just like, that's so dark. It was like the darkest thing in the world to me. Like, I think of that so much sometimes. Whenever I think of Cad Bane, that's the moment I think of. Like, that personifies his character. He's so good. He can just be like, I want to kill you for your hat in front of your brother and get away with it. That's Cad Bane. Like, that is the personification of his character. He's that good and that badass. Or it's just like, I want to look cooler, and you got a hat. Boom, upgrade, new hat. That's Cad Bane. And I love the guy. Can't wait to see what happens. He's the dude where you love to hate the guy. Because I hope they don't kill him. Like, they can honestly, they could kill Tech. And I'd be like, but they didn't kill Cad Bane. I want him to live. And I can't wait to see what they do with him. I love Cad Bane. He's my favorite bounty hunter. I love Din Djarin. I love The Mandalorian as a series. It is phenomenal. He looks cooler. Don't get me wrong. Like, the Mandalorian armor, like, just, it can't be beat. It's, it's magnifique. But as a character, nobody's, just like, his Cad Bane. He is perfection. He's so good. I hope they don't kill him off. I hope he keeps going. He never showed up in Rebels. I was a little upset by that. I just always hoped, like, I just wanted more of him. He's kind of like, he's not on the Darth Maul level. Let's not get crazy. But he's definitely in that same vein of, like, man, I wish they did more with, like, a specific character. And I got that for Darth Maul. and I'd love to get that for Cad Bane. I don't think the show will go long enough for that, but man, if they did like a cool like side show bounty hunter spinoff series, and it was like Cad Bane was like the lead, fine by me. I'd be totally fine with that. It would be interesting to see them do that, because it would be a real dark series compared to most of the stuff we get, because he would just go around actually killing everybody because he doesn't fail like that. So I'd love to see it, but Cad Bane is back, and I'm very happy. The episode, even without that, it was a great episode. Like, I loved all the action and the drama of it, and I didn't expect anyone to actually die or anything, but just the way that they went throughout the ship, and just having to be like, all right, well, let's activate this. Oh crap, because I turned on the power, now they can kind of switch that back on us. Like, we use the cannons to get away from them, they switched on the ion engine, and they'll, they can roast us alive, or we can go out and get our faces shot off. So they have to come up with plans on the fly. Like I said, Wrecker, he was trying to hold on to the money. He was trying to, like, they had all the weaponry and stuff. The man was trying. He was really trying. But I love the episode. I cannot wait for the next one. I would love to know what you guys thought about this one. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And of course, Cad Bane is back. I would love to know your thoughts on that, how you guys are feeling. I'm very curious what you guys think about Crosshair and what's going to end up happening with him. He's gone through, like, his moment where his team did defeat him. Like, he was kind of ahead of them for most of the episode, where it's like, oh, I knew you guys were going to do that, and then they get out of it. It's like, see, I knew what you were going to do after I knew the thing that you were already doing, and then you had a backup. I knew the backup. Like, he was always ahead of them because he knew, and he got roasted. Like, his face just got got blasted, and who would have seen that coming, But it was really good. So I would love to know your thoughts on the Crosshair stuff. Obviously, thoughts on Cad Bane. I don't know if I know, like, most of the time when I see people mention Cad Bane, it's in the same level of excitement where people are like, it's Cad Bane. Like, he's so cool. Like, it doesn't matter if he's the bad guy. He's the coolest guy around. So, Cad Bane is back. I'm happy. Like, the only other thing they could possibly do is just be like, Darth Maul, here you go. Like, that's all they could do to make me happier, is just throw Darth Maul in. But I got Cad Bane. For now, that's all I really need. I'm excited to see the characters go through this loss segment, because now I think officially we're in, like, the full-on, like, story at this point, because I don't see how we can go back to any, like, little filler episodes. I think we've kind of hit that stride. They, maybe in, like, 2 or 3 more episodes, maybe a little bit more than that even, they could go back to kind of things, dying down a little bit, for sure. But where we are now, I'm just like, I'm hoping at least the next couple of episodes, like, I would love for, like, the next 5 episodes, I would love for the rest of the series to just be, like, this intense. But, maybe the next 5 or so episodes, absolute madness. They got to deal with Cad Bane. Maybe Finn is going to show up again. Maybe Boba Fett can show up. Like, we don't really know. It would be great. It would be great to see it. Like, holy crap. We have the Bad Batch, the clones, and then the young, unmutated clone. I forgot exactly what they said, where he doesn't have the accelerated aging. It would be cool. It would be nice to just see, that little interaction. But all in all, fantastic ending. Cad Bane just makes me happy. We'll have to know your thoughts on this. So like I said, please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.